Oh God, I just
She's
pulled up my hair.
Mike, can you see my Mr. Turtle and Dragon above my shoulder?
Yes, I can. I should have got that, but I had I barely got what I had back in the. We had to buy a bag for carry-ons, and we had not had room. Hey, everybody! Happy Monday! A little bit early. We are here to have some fun, really fun shows today. No listener questions this week. We're going to have our Wednesday show, which we're recording right now. We're going to talk about Pam's Disney Wish Cruise, which was about 10 days ago now?
Gosh, yeah. I can't. I don't know. It's been
when that was 2 weeks.
Whenever the christening was.
I can't remember when that was. I mean, it was before I went to Disney.
That was almost 2 weeks ago. It was like a Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
it's almost 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks Wednesday.
I know, crazy. Went so quick.
Time's flying. And then after that, so stick around for the double feature, because then you're going to get a double dose of Mike and Scott. And we're going to actually go sequentially through our Disneyland trip. Last night was just a mess on the live call-in show. We were all over the place. We were just answering questions. We were jet lagged. We were crazy. We're going to try to give some more like legitimate, like the Disneyland hotel thoughts, the traveling to Long Beach, San Diego, tips for doing that, what we ate, stuff like that. So it'll be more in order.
I love the Disneyland hotel.
It was awesome.
But Grand California is still my favorite, though.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet too. I gotta say that we walked through.
I do love the Grand California. I love them both.
When you're so tired leaving Disneyland or DCA, it's so nice to like have the shorter walk to Grand California.
That is true.
Hot take: World of Color is better than Harmonious. I loved World of Color.
You're just crazy, Mike.
World of Color was really neat. I like
it. Is awesome.
God, those colors were beautiful. Like in the water, I was shocked at how, we'll talk about this on the next show, but how the water stayed that color, like 200 feet in the air. Like I could see it down by where the lights are, surface of the water, but that light stayed those things would be like purple, 200 feet in the air. I do not know how they do that. It was magic. It was crazy.
I just wish Harmonious had a way to hide like the barges, like how like World of Color kind of hides everything during the day,
Yeah.
Like you can't see it. Yeah. I wish there's no way for them to hide those barges, unfortunately.
No.
But that's where like the biggest difference is for me. Like I just like how you don't really see World of Color like during the day, and then you can see it at night, where Harmonious is like out there all day, it seems like, in World Showcase.
Right. Yeah. It was, I mean, I wasn't expecting much out of World of Color, and that show really, it was gorgeous.
Maybe you should do that next time you watch Harmonious. Like, don't expect much, and then you'll actually finally like it.
Problem is,
it's an awesome show.
I love the music in Harmonious. We watched that live show that was on, and it's on Disney Plus now, and we watched it the other night because Han actually hasn't seen it, which is weird. I had forgotten that. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, I love the music." And I'm like,
the music is so good.
Yeah.
You know what I think it is too, though, is World of Color. I've seen almost every one of those movies. Like I haven't seen hardly any of the Harmonious movies because it's more current. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't seen Coco or I haven't seen Princess and the Frog. I haven't seen.
I love it when they sing that Ma Familia.
They dig a little deeper version. And on the live show, not to go down that rabbit hole, was awesome when they had like the performers and like the live gospel choir singing, like dig a little deeper. Oh my god, it's so good.
I love gospel choirs. That'd be my jam.
Okay, so, all right. I mean, I don't understand why you don't like Harmonious, but we'll get you there.
It's because it's like the syndrome, like the guy who replaces the Hall of Famer in baseball. Like you just don't like the guy, like you don't be the guy who replaces the guy. Like Illuminate, I know I got to get over that, but Illuminations, like you replace Illuminations, I'm bitter. I'm a bitter Betty.
Let it go.
Yeah. You know what? Me and Pam like Illuminations too, but we can.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm an old fart.
Okay.
Get off my lawn.
Right, you stinking kids.
Dang live stupid replacement show. All right, 21.
Yeah, whoever replaces the BR Gus podcast,
we're doing it. We're doing it until we can't anymore.
We are, dude. We're driving this thing dead into the ground. Can you not tell? We're over 2,100 shows. We're driving this sucker dead into the ground.
I thought you were saying, "Can you not tell we're over 21?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I think they can tell."
We are the average. The average age of our show is Scott's bringing it down.
So that's true.
That's why we brought them in, because if they like Apple Podcasts, like goes by
Mhm.
ranking of average age, we need that demographic.
We do.
Just have like Hannah and like Mallory and Emily.
Yeah.
Just-
Pretty soon
Yeah.
we're gonna need a toddler to
We are. We're gonna need like a second generation, because this is anyway.
Yeah, we could just have like the Martin's kids and
Yeah,
Mallory and
exactly.
Emily just
Yeah,
do the show.
It's like, we're done. We're passing it off. Here's the baton. Here's
We'll
the big
make special appearances.
Yes, it'll get us out of the old folks home for the weekend. We'll do a couple
Can we
shows.
have like founding
Yeah.
members?
Yes, we are founders. We have the founder. Yeah. Thing.
Oh man.
Anyway, all right. Yeah, happy birthday, Fulton, here on the 20th. That's coming up here, I guess, in a couple weeks. So happy birthday early.
And Captain Mike Bankhead is today.
Yes, happy
Yes.
birthday to Mike. Yes, he's celebrating down at Walt Disney World today. All right, let's do this. 2118. Here we go. Welcome to episode 2118 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you have been doing great. We are back here in the studios, freshly returned from Disneyland, and we have two amazing shows for you today and Friday. Now, today's a little bit different. I know it's a Wednesday, but no listener questions this week because, to be honest, we just have too much content this week. But I promise you, we'll get to the listener questions next Wednesday. And if we have a lot of questions, we'll do two shows next week with the questions, but we'll just kind of play that by ear. But we love those questions. If you have questions, don't stop sending them. Mike at beourguestpodcast.com will get those on the show for you. But today, we've been waiting to get this show on for the last week. I was thinking about this show as I was out at Disneyland, and I was really not thinking about much else when I was out there. It was so amazing. But Pam is back from her sailing on the Disney Wish. And I mean, if you saw any of the coverage of this ship, you have got to be ready to get out there on this. I mean, it's got to be the greatest ship ever built. It's amazing. So we're going to talk about that today. So joining me today, the star of today's show, co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel, Pam Forrester. Pam, how are you doing? Welcome back.
I think I'm glad to be back. I don't know. I mean, the Disney Wish was pretty awesome. It was hard to leave. I thought seriously about hiding in one of those spaces and then just going on again. My family, I was willing to leave my family behind and just be like, I'm sorry, I can't go back home with you. But anyways, I have to stay and deal with the Wish. But I'm excited to talk about it today because it's just such a different kind of ship. And before we get too far into it, I want to just mention that we do have an onboard credit offer that we're offering that's on any Disney Cruise Line sailing. You get up to 5% of the base cost of your reservation in onboard credit. And Mike has a rule when you book with him.
Yeah, you cannot use it on tips. Please.
You can't use it on gratuity.
You technically can, but I will find you.
Yeah, we'll find you and make you do something fun with it. Like go to the spa, go to adult dining, buy something cool, do a port excursion. That's awesome. Don't use it on gratuities. That's no fun.
I mean, just don't think too hard because it all comes out of the same pot. But just don't, I mean, mentally, it's more fun if the onboard credit goes towards
100%. If you're like, I drank for free for those 3 nights, that's not a bad thing. So, anyways, even if it's just a coffee drink every morning, whatever
floats your boat, right?
That's right.
There you go. Ding. There you go. I just want to hit the bell. I haven't hit the bell in like 2 weeks. I had to hit the bell there. Okay, so. Also joining us, sitting in for Ricky. Ricky is not feeling well tonight, so we wish her the best. She's going to bounce back for next week's shows. We have our friend up in the mitten, Scotty G, freshly returned from Disneyland with my family. We had a good time out there. Scott, what's going on? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, Mike and Pam. Happy to be here for Ricky. And I've been looking forward to this episode myself, so I'm just going to sit back with my Elliot the Dragon popcorn bucket and just listen to Pam talk about that beautiful ship.
But what about Mr. Turtle? I mean, you also have Mr. Turtle over your shoulder.
Can't forget about Mr. Turtle. Yes, for sure. But that's more, I guess I can put a little beverage in there, but I'm mostly just going to sit back and eat some popcorn while I listen to Pam talk about the Wish.
All right. So let's get to Pam. I have the first question for Pam because here's what I find kind of maybe the parallels between the show we're going to do on Friday, which is Scott and I talking about our Disneyland vacation, my first trip to Disneyland. After having been to Walt Disney World so many times, you were on the Disney Wish for the very first time, but you've sailed the other 4 ships in the Disney Cruise Line many, many times. So I think maybe this had kind of the same experience where when you first boarded the Wish, when you got there, did you kind of have that sense that maybe I had going down Main Street at Disneyland? Like, this feels kind of similar, but it's different in a lot of ways, because I think they innovated this ship in a lot of different ways. The atrium, kind of the same layout, but not really. I mean, like, for example, there's only two elevator banks instead of 3. So you got to kind of, navigate a little bit different, stuff like that. So first impressions, arrival, and your first feelings of the Wish.
So when I first stepped on the Wish, it really, really took my breath away for a number of reasons. First of all, Mike, like what you had said, like I felt like, I've been on the different Disney Cruise Line ships a bunch of times, and I thought, okay, I know what this is. I know what it's going to look like, sort of. I've seen the pictures. We've all sort of seen the pictures, but until you're there and on it, it's really even hard to describe the differences. But the biggest difference, I think, when you first step on that you notice is just the color scheme and the decor. And I think that's something that everyone remarked on as soon as they stepped on that ship. It feels lighter. It feels airier. It feels bigger and more intimate at the same time. I just feel, for me, I kept describing it as sort of the difference between Animal Kingdom Lodge, right, which is a great resort in its own right, but kind of dark, kind of heavy, and Riviera, which is the newest, resort at Walt Disney World, and it feels so light and so airy and so contemporary, and that was really the case with the Wish too.
So as you got on board, again, that's a great description. I mean, that 2 awesome resorts. I mean, obviously the 2 very popular Walt Disney World destinations, especially with the Riv, everybody's, wanting to get there because it is very, contemporary, very polished, very fancy. What surprised you about the Wish? Because I mean, you obviously, we work in the business. We know, we've been through trainings and what to expect. But until you get to a ship, or you get to a hotel, or you get to a theme park, there's things that jump out at you. So was there something that was maybe what you weren't expecting when you got on board?
So I knew that the ship as a whole was bigger, right? But it still was only accommodating about the same number of guests that are on Dream and Fantasy. So I knew that those public spaces were going to feel different in some way. And that's actually part of the reason why they've reduced from 3 elevator banks down to 2, is to sort of use that space more efficiently, more effectively. So I was thinking, when I walked into like the main dining locations, the 3 that are included with your rotational dining, that space felt big, but they somehow did a way of making it feel more intimate too, by making like smaller rooms within that big space. So that felt really different to me. And just the fact that there are so many decks on the other ships where you can walk the length of the deck. And you can do that on certain decks here, but there isn't, for instance, like a spot where all the lounges are located, like there are on different Disney ships. They're sort of scattered in different locations. And I wasn't sure how I'd feel about that, but I actually really liked it. It's like you didn't have to just go to this one location to experience a lounge. There were different spots to go to. I think that Disney Cruise Line just did and took all the stuff that we liked about the other ships and really plussed it. They learned from it. They made each space feel like it had more than one function. And those were the things, the first things that sort of it was remarkable too, for me at least.
Okay, so before we jump into this too deeply, because I want to get to the staterooms, what you thought about that, of course, the dining that you experienced, the adult areas, the entertainment, stuff like that. Let's go over the basics for folks that might not know about the Wish. So relative size as compared to the Magic and the Wonder and the Dream and the Fantasy. And also this is doing Bahamian sailings, typically 3 and 4 night sailings, some 5 night sailings, select dates. But just give some just general knowledge on the Wish, what we know right now for the sailing seasons that are out there.
So this is the first Triton class ship, which is Disney Cruise Line's newest ship. So like I said, it is bigger than the Dream and the Fantasy, but doesn't accommodate that many more people than the Dream and Fantasy. So in that realm with that, you are seeing 3 and 4 night sailings from Port Canaveral for most of the 2022 and 2023 itineraries that are available. And I love that they're doing that because I think that is a great cruise. First of all, you can do a long weekend and you can fit in one of these sailings. And I think that that's really important to a lot of people, whether you've cruised Disney Cruise Line or not. I know that a 3 or 4 night sailing feels shorter, especially if you've experienced a 7 night, but it also can fit into your schedule. And that's good too, because they're sailing from Port Canaveral too. If you are doing a Walt Disney World stay, you can easily tack on a Disney Cruise Line stay or vice versa, whatever you're planning first in that space. So I think that's really important too for Disney cruisers.
And let me just throw in here that this is why we are picking the Disney Wish for the Be Our Guest podcast cruise, our 6th podcast cruise coming up next July, which is less than a year away right now. We're sailing the Disney Wish. And I'm telling you what, when I saw your coverage, I'm like, we picked the right one. Oh man, we're going to have so much fun on this. It's July 3rd to the 7th. So if you would like to sail with us, and we have a lot of listeners already signed up. We have a lot of cabins. We're going to have a tremendous time. We're all sailing together. Ricky's going to be with us, Pam, Scott, myself, our families. So please come sit, just drop by the Magic for Less, fill out a quote form, just put Be Our Guest Podcast Cruise. We'll get you some numbers. I mean, but the thing is about, doing a Bahamian cruise, it is, it's very affordable, compared to like a 7-nighter that's going into the Eastern Caribbean. It's something that I think can work for a lot of families. I was trying to think of, families, and it's over the 4th of July. So hopefully people are off work. We tried to make it work for everybody. So if you'd like to sail with us, we still have staterooms available. So come sail with us next 4th of July. We have a theme, which Scott and I might break on Friday, maybe at the end of the show, because we came up with it over our Disneyland trip and it is awesome. But I want to get back to Pam. Okay, so let's make sure we get all this in here. So staterooms. Let's talk about your stateroom, because these staterooms are a little bit different than the other ships.
They are, and they have some great new additions. So first of all, I'm going to point out that 70% of the staterooms on the Disney Wish have a veranda. And that's because so many more guests appreciate that. They want that in the stateroom. It just makes for a great cruise experience. Being on a cruise ship is always great, but when you have a veranda, I think it makes it that much more special. There also is an increase in the number of suites because, again, that's something that goes fast. When Disney Cruise Line releases itineraries, the suites are some of the categories that go the quickest. And it also has a lot more concierge staterooms because we're finding that a lot more guests are interested in that level of service. In addition, the concierge lounge, fantastic. It was sort of an afterthought on the other ships. They designed some of the ships with it, but it's not really that large. Now it's a large space. It's beautiful, and it has an outdoor sun deck that is specifically for concierge guests. So those are important with that. But anyways, back to the stateroom. So on each floor, there are different themes of the staterooms, and I know that people are interested in that. A lot of princess themes. I say just go and be surprised at the theme that you're going to get. I know that people are not going to listen to me, but other than the theme, right? Everything
everybody just give up the control. You don't need
yes, it. Exactly.
Nobody's listening. It never happens.
You do have to do that. But other than the theme, in each category, those staterooms are going to be exactly the same. Most are going to have the split bath. There are a few that don't in the inside category and ocean view category. There are a few that don't. But that split bath Disney has made famous. And basically what that is there is a shower and sink in one half of the bathroom and then a toilet and sink in another bathroom. And that really makes getting ready so much easier. If you have more than one person in your stateroom, you're going to appreciate the split bath, period.
That was created for the family dynamic of all 3 people represented here. That was created for Steve, Mike and Scott because we have a wife and daughters. And so that assures that we actually get to use the restroom when it comes time to get ready for dinner. I mean, it's the perfect dynamic. Otherwise, it's like go down by the movie theater. It's like, thank you. It is the greatest invention ever. Anyway, yeah, totally. Don't overlook the split bath. It's awesome.
The other thing that most of the staterooms have is this privacy curtain, which allows the part of the stateroom with the main bed to be sort of separated from the rest of the stateroom. And again, I think that's just a huge plus for so many reasons. I mean, most people have people that go to bed at different times. At one point, you know, when Hannah was little, she went to sleep before we did, and then when she got to be older, we went to sleep before she did. So I mean, that's how it kind of goes, but that privacy curtain really helps with that too. Some of the other functional things that we saw in these new staterooms is that there is no shower curtain in the shower, and it's a decent sized shower, especially for a cruise ship. You know, I don't know about you all, but when I'm in the shower on a ship, it feels like that shower curtain is always touching me or about to touch me. And just the thought of that has always been something that kind of grossed me out. This has glass shower doors. I know, right? Not something that you think about, but these glass shower doors, I think, are going to be, first of all, so much easier to keep clean. And make that bathroom look spectacular. I don't know how much our stateroom attendant loves washing those glass shower doors, but like they were so clean the whole time we were there. So like that. In other terms of functionality, there were so many more USB ports and plugs and everything else. That is something I think that everyone's looking for when they travel now, right? Because we each have at least a phone and a watch or a tablet or something, all of those devices to plug in. So they have that as well. And I found that to be really functional. It has the same awesome sheets and towels. There is something about the Disney Cruise Line sheets and towels that is spectacular, right? You sleep better on those ships and your toweling experience is so much better, isn't it?
It is. It is. Scott always.
That's my favorite my favorite part of cruising Disney Cruise Line is the sheets and towels.
They're just so soft, so nice. And we've all looked them up. They're pricey. I mean, they're fret sheets and towels. They are a pricey, but definitely worth it, I will say. It just makes the experience that much better. There are staterooms that sleep up to 5 guests in the standard stateroom category. So that's another thing. Even, you know, people who have larger families will be able to be accommodated in that stateroom that sleeps up to 5. So we appreciated that. Our room, the room that we stayed in, was a Moana themed room, and it had a beautiful Moana mural over the bed. And I've seen some of the other ones. They're beautiful too. It just really serves to enhance the stateroom. But again, like all the Disney Cruise Line ships, there are some Disney touches, but it isn't over the top Disney. And it's certainly not a ship that's over the top for just kids or just families. There's lots of things for adult only parties to enjoy there too.
So Scott, what are you thinking? What do you want to ask Pam about the ship? Because we've been talking about, you know, we know we're going on the podcast cruise in July, but that is such a long way away. We're having a hard time. You know, a year is a long time to wait because we're so antsy about getting on this ship. So what questions do you have for Pam?
So I'm so excited to get on that ship, and I love the description of the staterooms. I saw your photos of the Moana room; it looked absolutely stunning. But Pam, you know where I'm going to go. I mean, the main dining looks awesome, and like, you know, I'm you know, it's going to come to food. And the main dining is, as you know, is not my favorite on, you know, the Dream and the Fantasy. I'm all about the Palo and the Remy. Did you get a chance to try the adult dining at all?
So because we were on the very first sailing with guests, it was not available. So, but I did tour them both. So Palo on this ship is actually Palo Steakhouse because, right, they took the thing that most people order and decided to build the menu around that. Now, there's still some Italian specialties on it as well. So, all the things that people love about Palo, probably like the calamari, the appetizer that's really popular, and the caprese salad was there, but they also added some more steak options and things like that. And Palo is a beautiful restaurant. It has even more seating that has that spectacular view outside of the ship. So love that. And on this ship, it does not have Remy. It has Enchanté, which is a nod to Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast.
No one's gonna be able to pronounce that correctly, including me. I'll never pronounce that ever correctly in my life. So that'll.
Well, you're just a simple guy from the Midwest, Mike. Who would expect you to?
Palo is a challenge for somebody from Missouri.
No.
Like Ashanti. What do you give me? I go to Ashanti. No, that was a singer from the 90s.
Ashanti.
Oh, that's too funny. But this restaurant, Remy was always, I think, so it was a restaurant that felt like it had dark woods and it was sort of heavy and all of that. On the same token, Enchanté feels so light, so airy. A lot of light blues and different light colors like that. It has this gorgeous chandelier when you sort of walk toward it down this long hallway. And while we were there, they were showing us some things that the chef really wanted included in this restaurant. And when we walked up to the table, the server was showing us there's this little like plastic thing sitting there. And I'm like, what is this? And he took it and showed us. He has the menu. And he sets it down on this because the chef wanted you to be able to look at the menu while you're also enjoying your favorite beverage, right? Be it a glass of wine, a glass of champagne, or whatever drink you're having. He didn't want you to feel like you're juggling a menu and a drink and whatever. He felt like it's part of the process to be able to start your experience while you're reading the menu with a drink. And I'm like, that's it. I am never holding a menu at a restaurant again. I need one of these menu holders and this menu that fits perfectly.
Most menus today, though, are on your cell phone after you scan the QR code. But yes, I don't want to hold my device either.
Oh, I'm done with those already. That was
so 2021. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm over it.
But I was, it was a funny thing to hear him say it, but I was like, that's genius and awesome all at the same time. So the menus both looked great. Enchanté, of course, has a French-inspired menu, and you're going to find multi-course meals there. You'll also be able to do brunch at Enchanté and Palo Steakhouse. And there is also a dessert tasting that happens at Enchanté too. So lots of good things to choose from. And I think we'll see those offerings change maybe a little bit as they hit their stride. But I love what they've done with these restaurants. It just felt like a different experience. And I was so glad to see them included.
Is it set up kind of like how Meridian is like the lounge between the two? Is there a lounge up there?
There
too,
is.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, there is, and it's called the Rose. And the great thing about this lounge is, and I'll mention this because the servers told us this a few times, there is no dress code for the Rose. You can go up there in casual cruise wear, and it's fine. It is Enchanté and Palo that has the dress code. Now, Disney Cruise Line sort of revamped that dress code recently to take away the requirement that you need a jacket to dine in Enchanté. So that's something to note too. They've sort of relaxed that a little bit. You're certainly free to wear a jacket if you want to, but for those who don't want to pack it, especially on those shorter 3 or 4 night cruises, I think it'll be a bonus for them to be able to just enjoy with cruise where you have to wear, decent clothes. Yeah,
you gotta wear pants, but
yes. Yes, you can't roll up in your swimsuit, but yeah.
Scott and I have decided we are dressing up on the podcast cruise for fancy meals. So
you are.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of half the fun of a cruise, right? I mean it is, Where else do you get to dress
but we also discussed that we'll have our white skinny jeans.
Oh my gosh, right.
Yeah, we got to pull those.
So Steve's got to get those out. He's got a year.
I think he took them with us on this cruise, actually.
Excellent.
Perfect. Okay, real quick, while we're speaking about the adult dining, Jen, one of our listeners here from right down the road, has a question that came in today, actually. Perfect timing. Then I want to hit rotational dining because I know that's what most people are curious about. But she asks, we're on a 3-night Disney Wish cruise. My husband says Paolo's chocolate souffle is worth the price of the cruise. So I try to make sure he gets it every cruise. I have booked Paolo for night 2 and was going to ask for a rotation that has 1923 on night 2. So we still get the Marvel and Frozen dining experiences and skip 1923. We're not big Marvel fans, but thought we should have that unique experience. We're platinum, so Paolo Steakhouse dinner is free. I'll be on the September Wish cruise and we'll have experienced all 3 dining rooms, but he will not be on that one. Is this the right strategy that you would recommend? Thank you, Jen. She's 6 miles down the road from the podcast studios. So what do you think that's a good idea?
I'm torn on that because 1923 actually had our favorite menu. But if you're just from the perspective of experience in each of the restaurants, 1923 was also the restaurant that was open for breakfast or lunch during those days. Was the sit down location. That absolutely can change between now and then, but I think there's probably a good chance that you'll be able to see 1923. And your strategy for wanting to visit the other 2 dining locations, because they do have kind of a show, I think is a good strategy as well. Where 1923, I mean, you'll just miss the food. You aren't really missing a show, and you can always walk through that restaurant and see it. 1923 is a beautiful restaurant. And for those who don't know, it's one of the main dining options, and it is themed after the year 1923, which is when Walt Disney Studios opened. So there's lots of nods to that. It feels sort of, Steve said this to me, it feels sort of like a Brown Derby. Nice. In that kind of thing. There's brown leather and dark wood and lots of animation memorabilia around you. So we really liked that restaurant. It was a lot of fun, and it's a beautiful space. The Marvel restaurant was really fun. It was a fun show, especially for those who enjoy the Marvel experience. It's called Worlds of Marvel. And Ant-Man and the Wasp are sort of your hosts through that. So you'll see there are these different screens that you can see throughout the restaurant where they'll come on and give a little spiel. I'm not going to give a spoiler in this space because there is, right? We're going to try to keep it spoiler free. But let's just say they do a really good job of sort of coming and introducing some things and talking to you. And then it will sort of then turn to other other screens that have things from other Marvel movies on there. So there's lots for the Marvel fan to see there. And I will tell you, there is a quantum core at each table that sort of plays into the show too. You'll see some other Marvel folks during dinner, but again, don't want to give any spoilers. So let's just say it's worth going to see. And I think they did a really good job with that. The other dining location is the one that you're going to see with Anna and Elsa. It's Arendelle, a Frozen dining adventure. And what you're there is to celebrate the engagement of Anna and Kristoff. And they actually do a show in the middle. It is singing. It is dancing. There's some crafts. There's sing-alongs. They're looking for you to sing along with them. Olaf makes his way through the dining room.
Nice.
I know, right? So that was really cool too. I really appreciated, how much of a show they're putting on. Like when I saw it, I was like, oh yes, Arendelle, yes, it's going to be on, and also that'll be, they'll come, they'll do a song, they'll be done. No, it's a show throughout dinner. It really is. So they take that whole time, and all of the seating has a good view of the stage, so you'll be able to see that. But they do come around too. So those are the 3 main dining locations. And I thought they were all a great addition to this ship. I think that it's, themed, but not so over the top themed that guests who aren't a fan of either of these movies or that will feel out of place in there for sure.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm not even a Marvel fan, but I'm excited for just the whole. I like the interactive, almost like dinner theater. Like you're eating, but you're getting action happening around the restaurant and it's fun to see how this has progressed from like when the Magic launched. It was basically just dinner with a pretty dining room. With a nod to you looked around and you saw stuff on the walls, and then you got the fantasy and the dream, and you had things like the animator's palette where your drawings came to life on the walls. And now you have, basically they're bringing the Walt Disney World Theater into the dining room itself and making it interactive. It's neat to see the progression of things. That's pretty cool. Sounds like it's a lot of fun. Okay, let me ask you. So dinner and then drinks. Okay, so lounges. Scott and I were asking about this on the call-in show on Sunday night. We were wondering like who you split that $5,000 drink at the Hyperspace Lounge with on your family. Did you drink it all yourself? Did you pass it around?
Right. I know. I got 500 of my closest friends and we each had a minuscule sip of it. No, unfortunately it was not available during our during our sailing.
Very unfortunate.
I know, because I was really dying to try it. I had heard though that the reason why it's so pricey is that entertainment is involved in the serving of the drink of some sort. So I don't know, we'll see. But the lounges on this ship are my favorite lounges by far. And I think it's because the same theming and attention to detail that was brought into the rotational dining was also brought into the lounges. So I love that. So I'll talk about the first one that we all are wanting to know about first, and that's Hyperspace Lounge. And that was incredible. It is very much sort of like Skyline was on the other ships, right? That there is this screen that's behind and you're transported to different locations every 10 minutes or so. You take a jump through using hyperspeed and end up somewhere else. So I loved that. Each of the drinks there was really crafted in a sort of a show or interesting in some way. The bartenders there have some really cool drinks. I don't know if y'all have seen the videos, but there's one where they create this drink and then there's a bubble, this huge bubble on top of it that sort of sits there and you sort of pop the bubble to drink it. One of the ones that Steve got had the sparkly ice cube that was part of it. And of course the drink sort of smoked for a while. I just some really creative drink stuff there. And those
kind of feels like Olga's or like a
yeah, it does.
Like a melding of those two. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, it does. And there's lots of things around the location that sort of remind you of Star Wars and are just little things like that. So that's something worth going in. And during the day, I believe it will be available for kids to go into too. There are some non-alcoholic drinks, so they'll be able to see that as well. So everyone will be able to see that. The beer spot on the ship was Keg and Compass. And it was sort of like a Norwegian themed area. It was sort of about seafaring and things like that. They have 3 beers that are exclusive to the ship. They also have all kinds of different beer drinks. This is a place too where if you want to, you can pay a little extra and order some food. Like they have some bar food there, sort of like they do at 687 or some of the other lounges on the other Disney ships. And we really enjoyed that one too. We talked about the Rose, and that's the one that was between Enchante and the Palace Steakhouse. Nightingales is the piano bar. And this one has, so Sing Sweet Nightingale is a song that Cinderella sings during that movie. And if you remember, it's when she's sort of washing the floor and these bubbles sort of float up into the air and she's singing about this. And some of the bubbles actually are carrying a melody with her. It's a really fantastic scene. Well, they took that to inspire the lounge, and the chandelier in the middle of the lounge are these glass bubbles like from the movie. So I thought that was a really cool nod to Cinderella and that whole movie and the scene. And finally, the Bayou is inspired by Princess and the Frog. and it has a lot of greenery, like even on the ceiling. And I really love that too, because during the day, this is just an example of how Disney Cruise Line thought about using the space and why it's awesome to not just have one area of the ship that's 4 lounges, but during the day, you might meet Tiana and Naveen there, and at night it becomes the lounge. So I love that there was multi-use thought about for each of these spaces. There also are a lot more little sort of lounges that offer both coffee and drinks at different levels of the ship. So it's not just one location for this too. So you won't find any shortage of spots like this on the ship.
So very VIP listener of our podcast, Teresa Shinegold, is in the chat with us, and she's asking about a champagne bar, which I guess would be something similar to Pink on the Fantasy and the Dream. Is there anything on this ship that is equivalent to that, or are there possibly tastings or anything like that that you notice going on?
So it is not a specific champagne bar, but they have champagne drinks, including Moet Ice, Teresa, located throughout the ship. They also have a bar toward the back of the ship, Cove, where I had a Moet Ice drink that had a strawberry vodka popsicle that they put in this drink, this champagne drink, which I thought was really cool. But lots of stuff like that. They also tend to offer champagne at a lot more locations than just once. So it's not like they're limiting your champagne experience to one location. They actually have it at a bunch of different locations. So yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. So I have one more Pam, you've done so much talking and like you haven't even hit all of it yet, but you know me, like you've hit lounges, you've hit dining. Another piece that I really like is just like the relaxing parts, like all the chill spots. And I saw in your photos, like it looked like there's some really cool like chill pools or like loungers that hang around. So can you talk about the pools a little bit?
Yes. So the adult spaces pools has what one of my favorite aspects of the ship is, and it has this infinity edge pool off the back of the ship. And it is just incredible, really and truly. We spent some time there actually on Castaway Key Day, so we could be in the infinity pool, and it looks like you're just like looking out over at Castaway Key.
That sounds so perfect.
Right?
That picture you posted, I was like, I would never ever get up.
I know, right?
The police would have to remove me from the ship.
It'd be like, sir,
I think we're gonna have to book,
you've been in here for 3 days.
Do you have to book like a Genie Plus for that experience?
I know, right? The other thing they have back in that adult area is actually these tile loungers that you can sort of sit there. And so at your feet, there's sort of a pool where there's gonna be water there to cool your feet down. But water actually cascades over the top of the lounger and behind your back. So you're sort of sitting there, it's cool. And they're looking out the back of the ship too. So loved that. They had a ton of loungers in that adult cove space, all down one side, around the back, and then around the ship too. And that's where Cove Cafe is located too. So those were great spaces. And the interesting thing about the rest of the pools that are available, available for families, there aren't like 2 or 3 big pools, and then that's it. There's a bunch of little pools, just the way that the stages are sort of laid out. There's like a pool in one layer, and then you walk up, and there's 2 more pools there too. So there's just lots of different little pool areas. And I thought that was really smart because it makes it feel, like there's a lot of different options of where to try. I can see kids wanting to try this pool one day and this other pool another day. I think it really gives them a lot of levels to explore. And at the same time, I think parents can see kids that might be in different pools by, easily, because they're right there. They could sort of look down on all of that. And then, of course, the big main attraction, which is the Aqua Mouse, which is the first they're calling it the attraction at sea. And although it's sort of like the Aqua Dock, I think that there's a lot more screens and tubes with some screens in it to offer more of that experience. So it is more of an attraction at sea. They do things like Crush and Gusher, where there's water pushing you forward and pushing you up hills and things like that. So it's a really cool experience. I've heard that there are 2 different storylines your voyage on the Aqua Mouse could take. So I think that's cool too. The repeatability that you can try to get both of the scenes.
So let me ask you about this real quick, though. Speaking of, you're talking about loungers, Jessica is, and listener Jessica's in the chat. Excuse me, she's sailing with us actually on the podcast cruise, asking about, the equivalent of deck 4 promenade, the running track where you have the loungers. Now I did see, is this true that the running track has like a hill that you got to go up and down on? I was like, oh, that's going to be a challenge, but what about that?
So the deck 4 promenade, it does have loungers and places like that, but there is not really the open space that you can go the whole way around the ship like you can on other ships. There are actually stairs. Now, not to be discouraged, because there is a gym with really nice treadmills. And I know that that's not everyone's ideal, but I think that that's one of the trade-offs that you're getting in that space for that. It's not easy to just walk around deck 4 like it has been on other ships. You're muted.
Treadmill Club on the podcast cruise. You'll just have to be there with me, and we'll make it happen. I mean, that's just what I do.
I'll just go up the stairs.
I mean, yeah,
I don't even care.
The stairs too. I mean,
that's when I'll do my walking.
That's a good point. I mean, it's 4 days. I can do that. So that's very cool. Okay. One other thing I want to ask you about too is that in the cruise industry, one of the things that I like kind of industry wide is how cruise lines tend to forward technology on ships. So did you see anything that popped out as far as, advancing technology from the Fantasy and Dream class ships to the Wish, as far as how your experience unfolds with anything new that you mentioned, having the better layout in the stateroom with more hubs and more ports and things like that. But any other ways that Disney Cruise Line's using technology to make your cruise experience better?
They are. And this is not quite ready yet, but I got to get a sneak peek of it, and I am allowed to talk about it. I did not sign an NDA. They said they want me to share this information, so I will share this. So they showed us, how they have the Midship Detective Agency on the Dream and Fantasy, right? That you go and you get a paper and you visit these different locations around the ship. Well, they're going to have something that's sort of like this, only you'll be using your phone to do this. And it will be sort of the same, but they have plussed this so much. You'll be visiting different parts of the ship and solving these little mysteries. You'll be creating an avatar. And as you solve more mysteries and answer more questions, you'll be able to get things for your avatar, different clothing things, different little accessories that they're going to hold. This has kids written all over it, but I also see a lot of adults who are going to be very interested in that. And it's so much more than just going up to a painting that sort of comes alive. You'll be using your phone to sort of, for instance, catch some fireflies in the hallway somewhere. It'll be directing you to different parts of the ship, but it's not always going to be the same thing. It's not always going to be standing in front of the painting and that painting comes alive. You'll be, what else did we do? We could look up in the night sky and see different constellations that are part of this whole process. It's going to be really, really cool because it takes away so many of the frustrations that were there with the Midship Detective Agency. It is smart enough to know, oh, there are this many people who are already in this location, so we're going to send you to a different location that isn't as involved. And it's something that you can do together with a group or individually. And they'll have shows in that Luna Lounge, which is sort of like D Lounge, where you can come together with those people and work on additional things together as a group. I was so intrigued by this and so excited to see where this is going to go. And I really think that Disney Cruise Line, is finding interesting and new ways to include technology to have you interact more with other people and with the ship and to explore different parts of the ship. And I think that that's part of the intent there, something that Disney is so good at.
It almost sounds like it's a derivative of like a Pokemon Go kind of experience, which is super popular around the world. The people like that, where you got to kind of collect things and you got to do, you got to capture things as you get to a certain geolocation, and
Yes.
people like that. So that sounds like it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
real quick, so I know you didn't have any kids on this. Hannah probably doesn't qualify for the kids club anymore. But hey, sometimes our adult kids act like that, but they're still not allowed in the kids clubs. But I did see the one thing that everybody's talking about is how you enter the kids club, right? You slide.
Hello, a slide from the grand hall down.
That's how I want to enter the Wish. Like, you know how they announce you into the ship. I mean, just let me slide into the atrium, and boom, I'm in. I mean, come on, why do the kids get all the cool stuff? But real quick, I mean, could you, because I'm sure you toured the children's areas, and I mean, I'm hoping families that are sailing with us in July are listening to the show together. Pump up the kids. What are they going to experience?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the slide is the perfect introduction to the Oceaneer Club, right? And the kids' spaces are sort of broken into a few different areas. So in the Oceaneers Club, you're going to find Star Wars Cargo Bay. I didn't want to mess up the names, and I did anyways. Star Wars Cargo Bay. And it has all these different things that, of course, relate to Star Wars, right? You're going to find the porgs in there. You're going to find all kinds of different little creatures, and they were like audio animatronic. There's going to be different activities that you can do, all relating to Star Wars. And I loved seeing that, because so many kids have that relationship with the Star Wars stories now. But you're also going to find Fairy Tale Hall. And again, these locations are so uber themed. They really, really, truly are. You got to go into a location where you saw Belle's library, and there's a fireplace and seating there, stuff like that. So that was awesome too. There's also a Walt Disney Imagineering lab that had sort of a ride vehicle that you sit in, and there will be a screen that's sort of interactive. So again, that looked great. There's Marvel Superhero Academy, which again, you'll see Black Panther and some other folks like that. And finally, there's Mickey and Minnie Captain's Desk, which is for the younger kids that are going to be in the Oceaneers Club. But again, still some really cool things with a Mickey and Minnie theme. We also walked through It's a Small World Nursery, which again had some really, really cool and interactive things for there. That's the nursery for kids 3 and under for that. They have, for the teens and tweens, they have Edge and Vibe. Again, these spaces I think look better than ever before. They're bigger. They had more windows, more light. So you'll be able to be in there, but still see, what's going on outside. It felt a lot less cave-like than some of the other locations.
But dude, like preteens want caves. Like seriously. Preteens don't want sunlight. That sunlight's the enemy of like 13-year-olds. They want angst.
They'll still have plenty of comfortable seating, video games, stuff like that. But yeah, the kids' areas were so themed. I really was like, I want to spend time in these areas. So when you get on the ship, first thing is there's always an open mouse where you can go and see these locations. Don't miss your chance to see them, because they're really, really cool. That whole area for kids is too. And speaking of kids, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is even larger on this ship. And right now there are 2 costumes that you can only get on the Disney Wish. I think they're going to roll them out to the other ships too, but you can get Captain Minnie and Captain Mickey. Both of those are available on the ship. So that was fantastic too. Love seeing those bigger spaces for all those locations that the kids are going to be at.
And it's so cool.
Isn't there like a cool, speaking of Bibbidi Bobbidi, isn't there like a barber shop?
There is.
I'm just imagining like getting a shave though, and like he had a big wave.
I didn't need that here. I got 2 of them.
I know they do. So they took the hair salon actually out of the spa. Oh, and don't remind me to talk about the spa too. It's the Untangled Salon. So that's where you'll get like manicures, pedicures, and hair treatments and skin treatments and things like that. And for the guys, they added Hook's Barbery, where you can stop by for a haircut or a shave or a pedicure or more. And there is even a hidden bar located in Hooks-Barbary that offers whiskey tasting. So
we're doing this. We're all getting haircuts.
I might not even get my haircut before the trip like I normally do. I'll just get it on.
Nobody's allowed to get haircuts after April. That's a deal. We're all going to
And the other thing I wanted to mention was Senses Spa, which again is so much bigger. And for those of you who enjoy the rainforest room experience, you're going to like this even more, because there's not only the indoor spot of the rainforest room, there is also this humongous outdoor location with all these different places to lounge, all these chairs. It has a hot tub. It has different shower and treatment rooms inside, including an ice room. I mean, there's so much more to this. When you look down, there's been the shot that shows sort of the outdoor location of the spa. It has sort of a hidden Mickey over it, but it's really a great location. I am so glad they expanded this. Don't tell anyone, but I may be here most of the BOGP cruise.
Where's Pam?
You're like, I don't know.
I've never done the rainforest room, so I need to do this.
Yeah, you do. Just, I mean, for the lounging areas alone, it's so worth it, and it smells so good in there.
I love it.
So we're running a little long here, so I just want to we're gonna have to wrap it up. But
I know there's so much.
I mean, it's a gigantic cruise ship with so many offerings. We haven't talked about any of the shows, or there's so much other stuff to talk about. Common areas, the little little game
trivia. I'm sure there was some trivia, right?
I mean, we'll get to that. We'll get to that stuff over the next few weeks. If you have questions, again, listener questions is a great time to ask. If there's anything that we haven't hit on that you're curious about, send questions. We'll love to answer those here over the next little bit. But kind of wrapping up, I mean, you got this experience when you walked away, when you got off the ship, which is, if you've never sailed, cruising in general, but especially Disney Cruise Line, the saddest moment is when you wake up on that last morning of your cruise and that ship is back where it started, and you were so excited when you saw that view the first time, and you're back in that same parking spot. You got to go get breakfast and they're booting you off. It's brutal. That's why you got to go to Walt Disney World for at least a day afterwards, just to kind of soften the blow. Don't go straight to the airport. But just final thoughts on the Wish, because you have so much experience with Disney Cruise Line and all the Disney destinations. But what do you have in your, what did it leave you with?
I didn't want to get off, really and truly, and I mean that. I never want to get off the ship. I meant it more than ever on this ship, and I'll tell you how much I meant it. There was so much I was seeing and doing on Castaway Cay Day. We did not get off the ship because I felt like there was so much to do on the ship. And I think that that's something that even experienced Disney Cruise Line cruisers will want to think about, and why they'll want to think about experiencing this ship. It felt like a destination in itself. It really, truly did. There was so much to see, so much to do. And it felt like just an enhanced cruise experience. Disney Cruise Line experiences are always great, but this one felt even more spectacular. I think that I saw more characters. I had better food. I mean, even the buffet location, Marceline Market, was fantastic. Oh, even the quick service locations on the pool deck. I mean, a barbecue location, a cantina location. Mike, the cantina had you written all over it.
I didn't hear about that. I had not.
Are you kidding me? Yes.
And I've said this for years. They're missing the boat. Pun, didn't mean it,
but
they're missing the boat on a cruise. Like, they need to have a cantina.
They have one.
Crave Mexican all the time on cruises,
and you can have tacos, burritos, bowls, a salad, and they even have a condiments bar there that had all these different kinds of salsa that you could have. Even by the smokehouse, they had all these different barbecue sauces you could put on your brisket, your chicken, your sausage. And your good mac and cheese.
Oh my God.
right? But they still have the grill. They still had pizza. Oh, and it was better pizza, by the way. I mean, yes, we haven't even like scratched the surface, as they say, about all the things to do on this ship. And because it's sailing on 3 and 4 night cruises, those of you who are looking for the longer cruise experience, the word you're going to want to remember is back to back. You can do
I was about to say, like, I'm going to do a back-to-back and never leave the ship.
I know you won't too. There's really so much to really appreciate about this ship. And I think that a lot of it are things you can't put your finger on. You just know it feels even more exciting than it was on the other ships.
I have it's not necessary to the wish, speaking of the back-to-back, because I can see a lot of people wanting to book back-to-backs on here, which I've never done. But can you put like a request to keep your same service team when you do a back-to-back?
You can. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, you absolutely can. And yeah, book the same stateroom. The last time I did a back-to-back, they actually let me leave my luggage there. I had to get off. You have to get off and retest, but then you can get back on. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
we should just turn this into we should turn the podcast cruise into a back-to-back, Mike.
That'll be for the Hardy. I'm just saying, but I mean, yes. I'm still stuck on the cantina thing. I'm sorry. That's all I'm thinking about right now. It's like it's a floating fancy taco.
I'm hoping that the salsas are just as hot and spicy as they are at Disneyland.
Everything we had at Disneyland was spicy. Getting ready for Friday's show, everything we ate made us sweat. It was unbelievable. And it continued even at the Whataburger in Dallas. I had spicy ketchup, which I didn't even know existed. So anyway, no, but Pam, I mean, thank you for this great review. Again, we're doing the podcast cruise. I mean, this is going to be really, this will be our 6th time. It is so much fun. We've always said this, that sailing on a Disney cruise is special when you go with your family. Scott just went on a cruise, on what'd you sail on? The Dream?
We did the Dream. We did like just a quick 3-nighter over like Memorial Day weekend on the Dream, which was awesome. I always recommend at least a 4, but if you a 3 is better than none, right?
Yes, it is.
So if you can only do the 3, do the 3 too. Yeah.
But when you can sail with friends and you have something in common, and we've made our best friends on these podcast cruises. Truly, that's where Scott and I met, and you've seen the friendship we've made over the years. I mean, if you're watching the video, we have matching shirts. We didn't do this on purpose, but we bought the same shirts on vacation. So we are good buddies, and friends are made over, nice meals, drinks, all these fun experiences on cruise ships where everybody's relaxed and having a good time. Come sail with us. Again, it's July 3rd to the 7th on this awesome ship. I mean, it's going to give us so many great opportunities to have so much fun. Just swing by themagicforless.com, fill out the quote form, put BOGP cruise, and we'll get you some numbers and availability. Pam, final words, though. These things are especially group cruises. I mean, they're a hoot.
They are, because we always have a special event that's only for our group at different times. But then we have all these little impromptu meetups that happen throughout the ship. And even on a ship this big, you find yourself running into the same folks again and again at different things. We'll meet for the evening stuff. We'll see a show. We'll visit a lounge together, all of that. So I'm really looking forward. I'm wondering what Disney Cruise Line is going to have available for us to do as a group together. I think that'll be really interesting too.
You say, what else could we do? I mean, this is good. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Right?
Well, thanks for the great review, Pam. And it's a tough life, and you got another review coming up here soon with another fun experience.
Star Cruiser is coming. I am on my way to Star Cruiser next week, and I've really been looking forward to that. So follow me on social media, and we'll be posting some stuff there too.
We'll have a review here on the show. So we're trying to get you all the experiences you may want to have at the Disney destinations. We're trying to cover it for you. We appreciate your listenership, and we hope you always enjoy the show. So we are going to duck out of here. Again, you can follow Pam on the social media. She's at TMFLT Pam on Instagram and Twitter. What's the Magic for Less, so they can follow that as well, Pam?
It is the Magic for Less, I believe, on Instagram. That's the one that we do.
I was getting confused. Like if
it's the Magic for Less Travel. The Magic for Less Travel on Instagram. Yeah, I know, right?
This is TMFLT.
I know, right? It is. I know.
Lots of syllables there.
It's a mouthful.
And also thanks, Scott, for filling in with us today. We appreciate that very much. Follow Scott at epscott on Instagram and Twitter. Great coverage there. I'm at BRGuestMike. Give me a follow on Instagram and Twitter as well. Of course, the show is always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We already talked about that. Get your 5% up to 5% onboard credit with those Disney cruises. It spins just like cash. It's a lot of fun. Just swing by themagicforless.com. That's your first point to get the trip started, whether it's Walt Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, Disneyland, Adventures by Disney. Once you're there, fill out the quote form. We'll take it from there. We'll get you the pricing, the availability, and give you first-class service each and every time. Again, check it out over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link as you shop online this week. We'd really appreciate that. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a sincere thank you to the patrons of the show who support us each and every month. We could not do this without you, and our patrons get that bonus show called Mike in the Midwest, a little extra content each week. So join us if you can over at patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. And you can join us this Sunday night. It's Scott and I, you, me, and Scotty G will be taking your calls for an hour, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, Facebook and YouTube. And it's a great opportunity for you to become a part of the show and talk Disney with us this Sunday night. So we hope you'll join us for that as well. All right, we're going to duck out of here, and we'll be back on Friday. Scott and I talking in some kind of a orderly fashion about everything that happened last week out at Disneyland. And let me just tell you, it was amazing. I almost cried when I left. It was that good. It was amazing. I fell in love with the place. So we'll talk about that on Friday. So for Pam and Scott, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Let me save that real quick. Man, that's super good.
Okay, good.
Really
it's
good,
a beautiful ship. I actually can't wait to get back on. There's just
I started looking at Fair. I might be fully booked. I couldn't find it. Mike, I was gonna
that's fine because I'll restart a new instance. So okay, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just restart it. I'll send you the link again because I'm gonna update so it has a new title.
Okay, so I'm just gonna do this restart. It shouldn't be more than 5 minutes, I don't think. So
all right, we'll see y'all.
Okay. All right, Pam. Have a great day. Can't wait to hear about Star Cruiser.
Bye.